Good evening, good evening, good evening. This is Rev Right, and I have a subject today that touches my heart, and it's dealing with our children. And I want to dig deep into this because our children are our future. The question was asked, what's wrong with the youth today? And the answer to that question is very simple. It's the adults, the parents. The youth have no qualified role model to follow. So therefore, they cannot do this life thing properly. Today, I want to focus in on the father. The importance of the father in the eyes of his children. In particularly today, I want to focus on the son. How important it is for that son to look up to his father and see someone he can follow into adulthood and be very successful. This is very, very, very important. Our sons' fathers are our lifeline. We must take particularly good care in how we train them and how they look at us as the trainer. Nowadays, children are looking up to their mothers and asking the mothers this one question. Mommy, where is daddy? Where's my daddy? See, this is important because without the father, a great portion is missing out of the children's lives. Our little boys need strong men to teach them how to be a man. Only men can teach boys how to be men. It's the only way this can be successful. This is the way God, Yahweh, drew all of this out. Men teach men. There are man rules that we as men ought to follow. Well, somebody asked the question, well, Reverend, what are the man rules that I supposed to follow? I have to explain it like this. It's built into every man's DNA. You should understand if something don't feel right, then you should not be doing it. If you have to question it, if you have to make excuses for it, if you got to seek approval from other people for what you're doing, 9 times out of 10, I almost want to say 10 out of 10, you should not be doing that. You have crossed the line. See, there are boundaries as men that we should not cross. We should make sure we are staying within the boundaries. You see, that's where the father comes in concerning our children, especially our boys, because they look up to us to guide them. When things come up, we should step in right then and say, no, that is not appropriate for a man to be doing. It is our job as men to ensure that our boys don't cross that line. Fathers, it's very important that we talk the talk and walk the walk. We should not live by this code. Do as I say, not as I do. That is horrible. That leads to a disaster because whether you like it or not, children are going to do as they see you do. That is a fact. children need constant course correction. We are like a gyroscope that a spaceship uses when flying to the moon. The gyroscope is responsible to let the computer know whenever the ship drifts off course, so it will pull it back on course. We are that to our children. We should always be there to constantly course correct. Our children are not going to always listen to what we say. That's a fact. But whenever they go left instead of going right, make sure that they have a reference point. What do I mean when I say reference point? You make sure that you told them beforehand that that was not the direction that they should have been going. Make sure they have a reference point. The blind can't lead the blind. Fathers, in order for us to be good leaders, we must first qualify to lead. This is important because we cannot be good examples to our little boys if we are not good men to follow. Check ourselves first. If we as parents are not meeting the requirements, then we as parents need to get the necessary training and fix that as soon as possible so we can be good leaders, good representations, so our children can look up to us and see somebody that they can model themselves after. This is so important. This is the reason why we have what we have. I told this story before in one of my previous messages. It was this young man who grew up without proper people to train and teach him. And he did a lot of bad things. Why? Because no one was there to correct him. He eventually killed somebody in his many evil doings. And when they were about to execute him, they asked him for his last words. And he stood up and said this: if my parents had corrected me when I was young, I would not be where I am now. That's some strong words. The parents in the audience should have hung their heads in shame because this was bad. We as men have a strong side and a soft side. And we tend as men to lean more towards our strong side. But it's important that we show both and have a balance. Because if we have an imbalance, that is going to lead to a destructive outcome for the children, especially our sons that are watching us. When I was coming up, my father only showed me and my siblings his evil, strong side. All we can remember from our father when we was coming up is a evil side of him that we did not want to get in front of. And that damaged me as a child and growing up as to be a man because I had now inherited that imbalance. I carried that same dominant, strong side into my marriage, and it damaged my marriage to the point where my wife was contemplating leaving because I always wanted to be hard all the time. And I was about to be, broken, and my wife was going to leave, and that wasn't good. My wife complained about this for years, and for years I said that I was going to fix it. But when she told me that she was thinking about leaving, I got some strength from on high to fix that problem because I did not want my wife of 22 years to leave me because of that simple thing that I could fix but never did. Fathers, it's very important to show our sons our soft side and let them know it's okay to have one and to show it. It shows that you're human. Also, it shows your wife that you are not some rough, tough individual all the time. No woman wants to be with somebody that's that way all the time. Remember, there's a time and a season for everything. And there is a time to be rough and tough and have alligator skin. But there's also a time for you to be soft and gentle and let the people around you know that you have a caring heart. And yes, sometimes I do cry. Yes, sometimes things touch me. Sometimes I get emotional. There has to be a balance in everything that we do. Fathers, it's our job to make sure our boys grow up to be strong, respectful, resourceful, competent men who knows how to deal in business, knows how to take care of himself, knows how to take care of his family, knows how to go out and make things happen when they need to. That's what we need. Fathers, we are not perfect by no means. We are going to make mistakes, a lot of them. But that doesn't mean that we are bad fathers. It just means that we are ever learning, ever growing, and we're showing our children that we have vulnerabilities. But that's okay, as long as you can admit to them, and as long as you can say, I'm sorry, and go past that. What qualifies you to be a good father? In a nutshell, it is a man that is willing to do whatever it takes for his son to grow up and be very successful. That's what qualifies you as being a good father. You are willing to go out your way to make a way for your child. Good father. Hello. If you like what you heard, please, if you haven't done already, subscribe to this channel. Hit the notification bell and like this video. God bless you. Thank you.